So my name.
Welcome, everyone, to this Microsoft Applied Skills Ask Me Anything. I'm here with my good friends Jonah Andersson and Tiago Costa, and we're so excited to talk about applied skills today. But for those of you that never met us before, I know Microsoft Learn shared a link to our event, so for many of you, it might be the first time that you hear about us. Let's start with some introductions. And Jonah, do you want to get started?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our stream today. It's an amazing tandem that we're doing today. But I'm Jonah Andersson. I'm from Sweden. I am a Microsoft MVP for Azure. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer. And I'm someone who inspires tech and speak a lot about Azure. So that's the short version. It's great to be live and ready to answer questions today.
Awesome. Tiago, do you want to follow up?
Well, after that is really, really hard, but let me try. Yeah, so my name is Tiago. I'm based in the sunny Lisbon, Portugal. That currently is really hot here. So it's really big time of the summer here. And yeah, I'm like, super, super, super a fan of Azure and a fan of Microsoft certifications, now credentials, like we like to call them, right, Vlad? That includes both certifications and the amazing applied skills that we are going to talk about here today.
Yes.
Yes.
And I see a
Awesome.
lot of people in the chat, especially on LinkedIn, on YouTube, saying hi. So, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, the main reason we are here today is to answer your questions. And please do not hesitate to get us started. We do have a few slides, a bit of a presentation about applied skills just to get started until questions come in. But please do not wait until the end to get started with your questions. And let me introduce myself as well. My name is Vlad Catrinescu. I'm a Microsoft MVP from Montreal, Canada, and the Microsoft Certified Trainer, like my two other colleagues on the call. So super excited to answer all of your questions today. And the beautiful thing about Ask Me Anything is that you get to decide where the show goes. We don't really have an agenda other than to answer your questions. So please do not be shy. Now, let's talk a bit about applied skills. Now, what are applied skills? And uh, a lot of people will call them new. I feel like in the world of tech, things change so much. They have been released almost 1 year ago now. But with all the releases happening from Microsoft, with everything, it's sometimes easy for some of them to get missed. So, applied skills is the new Microsoft verified scenario based credential that proves proficiency in skill set specific to critical business challenges. Tiago did mention it a little bit, but a big change that happened in about November last year is that to get a certification or to get, let's say, a proof that that you know something about Microsoft, our only option before was Microsoft certifications. That was the only way for you to get a proof or a diploma from Microsoft. But in November last year, Microsoft split this up into two different things: Microsoft certifications and Microsoft applied skills, which now all fall under the Microsoft Credentials umbrella. So whenever you look at a blog at Microsoft Learn, you will often see this umbrella of Microsoft Credentials, which contains both certifications and applied skills. And they are very different, right? Certifications, I feel like everybody is a bit more aware of. They are role based. So, are you an Azure developer? Are you a Teams admin? Are you an Azure architect or a Power Platform architect? And in those certifications, you often need to know multiple products. Even if it's only Azure in the name, you probably need to know about 10 different products inside Azure to pass that certification. They are done in a proctored way, meaning that you either have to go to a accredited testing center, or you have to do them from home with a proctor that's watching you on the camera. And a lot of the questions are, I want to say, a bit of knowledge base. So you have a question, you either have multiple answers, or you have an order in which you need to put the answers in, or you need to fill in the blanks in the PowerShell commandlet that you have on the screen. So those are certifications. Now, what's different about applied skills? Applied skills are very specific to one single skill set. So they're not your Power Platform architect. They're really about one product. For example, automating business processes with Power Automate. That's a bit more in my Power Automate part. Tiago, what's your one from Azure? I know both of you are from the Azure side, but let's start with Tiago. What's your favorite Azure one?
I think for me was the first one that I took, which is about secure storage, basically on storage accounts. That was like one of the first ones to be available, and was like, I think was like 3-4 days after this was launched that I took that one. And I think that was it's like amazing, that one, and still one of my favorites, I have to confess, because it's a little bit like what you're saying, Vlad, which is it really focused on one very, very specific task. In this case, not even storage as a whole service, but just how to secure, storage in Azure. And, that's like amazing because, sometimes, yeah, we just want to get accreditation that we, as professionals, we know how to do that specific task. And a certification, it's a little bit more broad. I have to correct you in one thing. You said in the Azure Architect, there's like probably like 10 services that you have to know. It's not 10, by the way. I count them last time, and it was 23. Okay.
Only 23.
Yeah. And so it's like a lot of different services that you need to know. And of course, you're not going to be like a super expert, and you just can't prove a point being a super expert in 23 different services. Correct? It's just what it is. No one is. And if you try to do it, it just doesn't work that way. But in here, no, in here I can actually validate my skills about a specific topic with a specific service, or sometimes it's a little bit more than just one. What about you, Jonah? What is your favorite applied skill?
Yes. To be honest, I have taken a lot of Microsoft certifications than applied skills yet. But what I have tried first was building deploying cloud native apps using Azure Container Apps. That's the first one for Azure part. But I do have a lot of plans to take more applied skills because it's free. You can do it anytime. It's more flexible, and it's one way to really have this purpose of learn by doing, using the Microsoft Learn platform, at the same time learning the theory on the side without booking Microsoft certifications that sometimes cost money. You have to ask your employer to pay for it or pay it yourself. So it's very convenient, very flexible, and very inclusive for everybody, including beginners of all levels. So
Yeah,
I like it.
It kind of removes the cost barrier that some people might have, because not everyone is fortunate to have an employer that can actually pay for the certification. Sometimes, there are people that struggle economically, and I think the applied skills, it's a great way for people that come from that background, can basically grow in their career. Definitely, yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Can I add something, Vlad and
Of course.
Tiago? I also see an opportunity for Microsoft applied skills in terms of like employers. Like, when you're doing like applying for a job in cloud engineering, or maybe looking for someone who can work with Azure or other technologies within Microsoft, it can be a good way also to test the skills of that applicant by doing this free lab and hands-on. The employer or the management doesn't have to ask people inside a company to make the coding labs. They can use the free resources that's already available on Microsoft Learn. So I think it's a good thing also for all sides.
You are absolutely right. And I mean, I forgot to mention, but Of course, they're free. I think, Jonah, you mentioned them, or Tiago. I didn't mention it yet. I wanted to keep that a bit longer, but applied skills are free, which makes it even more awesome. And we have a ton of applied skills available. I did send a link in the chat to everybody here, so you should soon have it. Of all the applied skills, there's about 20 something applied skills that are available. And by the way, just wanted to say, so a lot of you have asked some amazing questions in the chat. Thank you so much. We'll get to them in just a second here. But yeah, we have over 20 something available today. More are coming. I know we know about so many of them coming up, and I'm sure we'll get them very, very shortly. Something that I wanted to mention really, really quick. I know you're all probably tired of hearing the word AI. You hear it every time somebody from Microsoft speaks. Is AI is every third word, and every second word is Copilot. And I mean, that's why I have Copilot right here. But there's a bunch of AI related applied skills. So if you ever want to get a Microsoft credential about artificial intelligence, but you might not be ready to go for a full-on cert, applied skills are a great way to get started. How do you get an applied skill? So now I didn't tell either Jonah or Tiago, I didn't prepare them for this, but Jonah, I'm going to put you on the spot. Close your eyes and tell me what are the exact steps to get an applied skill. Describe us the Microsoft Learn screen.
Oh, I already looked at it. So first is, of course, you need to prepare, earn, and share. But basically, in my experience, personal experience, you need to have a Microsoft Learn account using your Microsoft email address. And then just like when you schedule an exam for Microsoft certifications or doing a hands-on lab on Microsoft Learn, you actually go to the link that we shared in the chat for Microsoft Credentials. And then what you will do is you will filter the technology category. Let's just say you wanna learn the Microsoft Credentials for Azure. So you're gonna filter it, or you can also filter by roles, your level, as well as the subject areas that you want to learn: security, application development. And then you look for something that's suitable for you, what you want to learn, and something that applies in your current project. And then when you pass the lab or the exam for the applied skills, don't be afraid, and be brave to share it on your LinkedIn for profiles and even your social media. So that's my own version, the long one, but without closing the eyes.
That is great.
Yes.
Let's get started. We have some amazing questions come in. Shall we get started with some of the questions?
Yeah, I think we have to, because they're getting a lot of
Yes.
them. So
There's a lot.
Let me start with some tough ones. And I see we have Volodymyr that asked us a few tough questions. Okay, let's start with the first one.
I can answer that one if you want, because I know
Sure. Well, as long as it has Azure in the name, it's you two anyway. I'll go on mute.
No, sure. So so what happened is that's retired, period. Okay. That's the short answer. The long answer is Microsoft, they basically, they check, and they keep checking about, is this an applied skill that still makes sense as an applied skill? And they do this a lot of time, and in this case, this was decided that it was not worth to have it anymore as an applied skill. So they retired that applied skill. Okay. It has nothing to do with some of them not being available, because some of them, as we know, they're not available right now, and a lot of people already comment about this in the chat, but they will be. They will be, because we even had some on your end, Vlad, on the Power Platform side of things that just became available, right? I think was like 2 days ago or something like that, that they just returned, like a bunch of them, like 3 or 4, right?
I did have that slide ready of them, and there was a follow-up question by Volodymyr as well about
exactly.
Things going under. Some applied skills are still offline and have been offline for a while, but there's only a few of them left. I feel like I think all Azure ones are up. Power Platform is finally up. So the Power Automate and the two Power Apps, the Canvas and the model-driven one, are back. I'm not sure about the Fabric today. I do need to. I'll check on that right away.
I'll check on that. But there's also a couple on AI, on Azure AI, that are also offline, still offline. I'm sure they were working on, and very very soon they will be up.
Yeah, it's been quite a few Microsoft services as Microsoft is updating their security infrastructure, because this is a lab environment. They wanted to make sure that everything is secure and ready to go. The Fabric one seems to still be offline. I just checked one of them, but I'm sure they will be back in no time. I do not think there is any public timeline for them. But I hope before Ignite, everything will be up. That would be my goal. That's my goal, but hopefully even before. Let's see what other questions we have here. Maybe this one, Tiago or Jonah, you might know a bit about. A question from Rostislav. I was wondering when the build on Azure AI Vision applied skill will be available. So excited, I am waiting on it.
I'm actually checking on it right now. It's actually up. I see build on Azure AI Vision. So probably you can just check it out. Let me send the link here on the chat. It is actually available.
Oh, it's still under maintenance. That's why. So this is one when Tiago mentioned that some of the AI ones are still under maintenance. This is unfortunately one of them that got stuck in there. So it's there, but it's still under maintenance. So check in a few weeks, maybe in a month, and hopefully it will be back. I think Microsoft is taking them one by one, upgrading the infrastructure to make sure it respects security requirements, and then they'll be back one by one.
Yeah, this one I personally know that is still, because I want to take this one. That I didn't took it when they made it available. I said, I will take it tomorrow. I will take it tomorrow, and then I never did. And when I tried, it was not available. So I'm checking all the time about this.
I was a bit tricked. I was missing the error at the bottom. I was like,
and a lot of people are saying that there's so many of them still under maintenance, but I think there's about 7 or 8 of them under maintenance of 25, 26. So oftentimes, I'll be honest, I felt the same way like you, because all the ones I was interested about were under maintenance. So I did feel like there's a lot of them under maintenance. And then I asked Microsoft, and they're like, okay, Vlad, it does seem that way because all the ones you ask us about, but out of all of them, there's only a few that are actually under maintenance. So you might have the same profile as me, where it's just a bit of unlucky, where the ones you're interested of are under maintenance. But overall, I think there's 6 or 7, between 6 and 8, because there's 11 before, then the Power Apps, Power Automate came back. So my best guess would be there's 8 of them right now still under maintenance. So Okay, next question now. Is it enough to prepare for Microsoft certifications through applied skills only? Now, this is a big question. Jonah, do you want to get started?
Analyze the question. Is it enough to prepare for Microsoft's certification through applied skills only? That's an interesting question, because in my perspective, Microsoft certifications for any technology category still has a big impact or relevance when you're learning something new or certifying to get a job. I believe that the applied skills is a good complement to Microsoft certifications, and it's a good alternative if you want to learn new skills with flexibility that is specific to the real world scenarios. So I don't think the other one, the applied skills, is better than Microsoft certifications, but they complement each other. That's my perspective. What do you think, Vlad and Tiago? What's your perspective on the question?
Sorry, I just misclicked on one of them. Tiago, I'll let you go first while I
Yeah,
get
yeah, yeah.
the
Well, for
message
me,
back.
Yes.
it's like we were talking about. It's similar to what Jonah was saying.
Yeah.
It's two different things, and the
Mhm.
way the topics that you're covering, it's just not the same level. Okay, uh, an applied skill to start is unprompted, so you can just do it on your own, like your work when you're doing work, and you can have another window open, with Microsoft documentation, with some other stuff, and you can even try in another environment how to do something and then replicate that in the applied skill that you're actually taking. A certification, you don't have that. It's a proctored environment, you don't have anything. And even if you have labs on your exam, that some exams have labs, most of the exam it will be basically answering multiple choice or other kind of format of questions that you're going to have on the exam. So it's a little bit more theoretical knowledge that sometimes you need to have also. Practical, theoretical, it's a mix. When applied skills is fully practical, it's just a lab, and you have tasks and you have to do them. That's it. It just gives you like, hey, you have to do this, and you don't have step by steps. You just need to know how, to achieve this. I really love it, to be honest, the applied skills, but we have to consider that they are definitely two different, you know credential products, like Microsoft likes to call them now, this Microsoft credentials, and then they have applied skills and certifications. Okay, so it's two different things, definitely. Answering the question, it's a no. Okay, if you just go through a bunch of applied skills, it's not enough, even because most, if not all, the certifications that you don't have applied skills that cover the objective domain of the exam, the whole objective domain of the exam. So definitely, to prep, you can use them to prep, but to prep parts of it, not for the whole.
I think they're complementary. So,
Yeah.
for example, if so, my take on it might be a bit different. So I'll take it from the Power Platform point of view. Right now that we lost the Power Platform app maker,
Ah,
if I would have to recommend to somebody how to get skilled up in the Power Platform, I would always tell them start with the PL 900. Those are your fundamentals. Then go do the 3 applied skills and then go for the functional consultant. So for me, I see them in a way as a practice, as a credential you can get between fundamentals and associate for some of them. For others, they might be between associate and expert, but they will not prepare you. They're not made to prepare you for a certification, but they can be nice challenges for you between certifications. For example, you know what? And again, I'm not an Azure expert, so my colleagues here might call me on it. But if I was looking to get the AZ 104, I would maybe go for the applied skill on Azure storage as a way for me to practice, because I'm sure
yep.
that's going to be something on the exam. So they're not really made for it, but you could use them as challenges while studying for a specific certification, or as stepping stones. Maybe you are, you know what? Maybe you're the HR person that's the most skilled in IT, and somehow you're the one that ended up being the Power Platform guru in your department. I'm sure you can pass the PL 900, but the PL 200 is really made for consultants that do this on a everyday basis. So that might be a bit too high for your job, and that's okay. But applied skills, at least the
Mhm.
way that the Power Platform ones are there now, that can be your target. You might get the PL 900 and then go for those applied skills. So I see them as in between certifications. You can use them as challenges, as goals, but they're not a study tool necessarily.
Yes. Can I add something?
Of course.
That's awesome. Yeah, awesome perspective. I like your point of view, Vlad. In the Azure side, also, I worked as a Azure consultant in my real job, so I work a lot with Azure, a bit of DevOps, a bit of different levels. But I see also applied skills as a way for you to prove to your employer or manager that you can do a specific big major task that you're trying to implement in a real project. So, for example, you are in an IT project or you're a consultant working with cloud development, and you have this need in your project to migrate a SQL server to Azure somehow. And I see that there's actually migrate SQL Server workloads to Azure SQL database, applied skills, which can be something that you and your team, whoever are working on that specific one, can go through on Microsoft Learn, so you can prove, hey, we can do this mini project inside our project because we know we have tried it, we did a good hands-on on it. So I think that's one way as well, in my perspective, on the Azure side. What do you think, Tiago? Any
No,
input
look,
additional?
no. Yeah, definitely. Look, there's a lot. And by the way, there's a question that I saw here that has a little bit related to this, which is about if we, if there is going to be applied skills for AZ900 and there's another for AZ104. It's kind of the same question, but for two different certification exams. Again, there are two different products. Okay. And so certifications is one thing and applied skills it's another. But definitely there's a lot of uses that we can have for applied skills. And one, what Vlad was saying, you're not ready for that certification, but you might want to take the applied skill to prove that you have that knowledge, some part of that knowledge, but not the PL 200 level knowledge. Okay, so definitely that will be something. But make sure that you get this. Certifications is one thing, and then we might have applied skills. Applied skills, if we want to talk about, for example, the question that we have on the screen now, which is about the AZ104 track. Well, it's not going to be for the AZ104, but what I see, and I don't have any inside information about this, by the way, I see that there's a lot of topics that also are in the AZ104 that they will make amazing, applied skills. Okay, definitely. Like, for example, an applied skill on app services, like create and host web applications using app services. Why not? It's a great topic for an applied skill, and I could be here, the rest of the hour talking about topics that I will see. Well, let's create an applied skill on this. Let's create an applied skill on this. Unfortunately, I don't create applied skills. Okay, so so that they will never see the light. But definitely there's a lot. But again, AZ104 certifications is one thing, applied skills is the other. Even if what Jonah was saying, hey, I can use the applied skill as a way to prep, but also, like they said, they were not designed for that. We're just using them for something else. Okay, like when you use Excel to do a database, we all know Excel is not a database product, but
Are you sure?
there's a lot of people using it.
Awesome. Okay, let's go for an easy question now. Oh, not this one. That's not easy. This one is easy. Is there a renewal cycle for applied skills? They don't have to be renewed, right? Am I correct on this?
There is there's no renewal. You get them, period, done. Okay, that's it.
So kind of like fundamental certifications.
Exactly,
you get them, they're there forever. And by the way, something that I realized as I was looking into the retirement of one, after they get retired, they will be there for 2 years on your transcript after they get retired. So, but there are no renewals. Now, let me go for another easy one here. Are there any new upcoming applied skills that will be added in the near future? Yes, a ton of them. I mean, sometimes the more you know, the least you can say. I know of at least about 20 that will get added, I would say, hopefully this year. But I think right now Microsoft is very focused on getting the ones that are under maintenance, getting them back up. This way, what they have there is available. And after that, we will get a ton of new ones. But I'm just going to say, if you ever might want to look at what might become available, take a look at what are some of the latest courses that learning partners are offering. That might give you a good insight into what might be coming as an applied skill. Not always the case, but it can give you a good indication of where Microsoft is going with their learning priorities. Okay, now a bit more the one that I hit a bit earlier because of the it wasn't as easy. So does this mean it's better to go for applied skills as they are project based rather than certification? And I feel like we could debate about 30 minutes on which one is better. I think they are very different between, again, they're complementary. It's not better to go for one or for the other. It's better to go for both, in my opinion, and go up to the level where you're comfortable depending on what you do on your day-to-day job. Again, if you're the Power Automate person in the HR department, you have a applied skill only for Power Automate, where the only thing you have to know is Power Automate. But if you're a Power Platform architect and you only have a Power Automate applied skill, might not look as good for a client or for a job. Then the Power Platform architect certification is a lot more adapted to your job. So I think both of them are amazing. Go for the ones that apply to your job and to your learning goals. Jonah, do you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, it's almost the same as my previous answer on one of the previous question. I totally agree with you. As you said, we can debate about this for 30 minutes or more, which is better. But as Vlad said, they are complementary. None of them is better than the other. But I would consider applied skills if you want to learn a lot of hands-on. At the same time, you want to have the flexibility of time and you want to do it for free. And also, depending on the demand or the need that you have to upskill yourself on the project base. So, as I said, if in your project maybe you need to do something that has already an applied skill, so that's just one additional thing I want to add. So I hope that answers the question that we got.
Awesome. Okay, let's go to the next one. From Lisette, applied skills can be considered a complement to certifications. In the future, could some certifications be associated with applied skills to give more credibility to the knowledge acquired? And let me start with this one. I don't think we will get that kind of association. However, what Microsoft started doing is adding hands-on labs or simply labs inside certain certifications that do bring that credibility. Now, there's not a lot of those labs in the Microsoft 365 certifications because I guess it's a bit more difficult, but I know Azure has a ton of them. So maybe, Tiago, do you want to start on this question?
Okay, so answering your question, yes, there's a lot of, on the certification exams on Azure, there's a lot of labs. And it's like you might get a lab and you might have a colleague that took the exam in the same day that he might not get a lab. There's a reason in the back for that, not the time or the place to share about that. But if you get labs, you're going to get 20 extra minutes on your exam, by the way, because, doing a lab takes way more time than just answering some questions. And for other products like Microsoft 365, Power Platform, etc., yeah, like Vlad was saying, it's a little bit harder to make that thing available. So I don't think they have it for everything, for sure not. But for Azure, they have. Now, answering the question that we have here on the screen, credibility. Well, we got the labs, so that's there already. We don't need the applied skills to bring that. If we want to see, I would love to see, for example, and it will not shock me, some kind of level of accreditation from Microsoft, a credential that, look, you get this credential if you finish, this certification or this group of certifications and this group of applied skills, one thing plus the other. Got it? Not one or the other, but one plus the other. I will not be shocked by seeing something like this. I think that will be interesting to see. But I don't think Microsoft has any plans on that, at least that they are public. Okay, and I don't have any knowledge of that too. Okay, but I think that will be great to have. At least that's my. I think I already had this discussion, especially with in a group of Microsoft certified trainers. And my opinion, yeah, they most of them don't agree with me. Okay, so it's what it is. We can have different opinions. Okay, that's fine. But this is kind of I think it will be good to have something like that.
There we go. Sorry for that. I was answering some questions in the chat. Let's go for the next one. This one, I'm not sure I fully get it. Why are there only associate certifications available and not professional ones? Well, we have the expert ones. So you go from fundamentals, associate,
Yeah.
expert, and then some specialty ones, which are a
Yeah.
bit more niche topics. So while the word professional is not used, expert
can-
would be the word you're looking for.
I can answer this. This comes from AWS. Okay, because
Yes,
in
that's right.
AWS you're an associate and professional. Okay, professional is the highest level that there is in the AWS certification. So in the Microsoft world, we don't use the word professional or the category. Let's just call it professional of certifications. It's the expert level certifications. In the end, it's very similar. Okay, in terms of what they mean, but that's it.
Awesome. Okay, let's see what else is there. I'm looking through the starred ones here. There was a question about uh, Office. So the MS-104 is
That's you.
expert. That's me. MS is Vlad. So will there be an applied skills centered around modern workplace? Uh, I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't think there's anything that we can share. I certainly hoped so. And there was another question that was very similar about Office uses, Teams, Outlook, the whole modern workplace track. Uh, I certainly wish that we're going to have a lot more credentials around the MS-104, the MS-700, things like that. I really do hope so, but I have a lot of hope for it, but I have no knowledge that I can share today. I mean, Tiago knows how much I've been asking Microsoft to bring back, especially a SharePoint certification or a SharePoint applied skill. I don't think it's a secret that everybody at Microsoft knows Vlad's been begging for this. So I certainly hope so, but I do not know of anything new coming to Modern Workplace right now. The only Modern Workplace one right now is the Teams development one. So that's the only one that is available there. So I hope so, but I don't know anything about it. Let's go for another easier question.
Oh yeah.
Applied skills are free to take right now, but will this change in the near future?
If you want, I can take that one.
Sure. Well, I don't know
Yeah,
anything
sure.
about it changing, so you
Yes.
can take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, take it, Tiago.
So they are free, and as far as we know, there's no plans. Okay, to basically to make them not free. So start charging for that. For what I know, Microsoft, if they decide to take that, because look, believe me, I don't know, and I don't have any inside information on this at all. But this must cost a lot of money to run. All those labs that we open and we take them in, a lot of people that open them and then they don't finish them. And there's like thousands of instances of that stuff running every day all the time. And then that stuff costs money. It's compute running somewhere, in Azure, by the way. And and that stuff costs money. So if one day Microsoft starts to charge for applied skills, personally, I will not be shocked. It's an accreditation. It's just what it is. For knowing Microsoft, as long as I know, if they decide to do this, they will let people know, ahead of time. And they will say, hey, starting date X, we're going to charge this, and we're going to start charging this, and you still have some time, to finish some. My personal advice, and I'm keep saying this to everyone that I meet, like kind of like in the middle of the street and everything, okay, is like, if you want to take an applied skill, go to your calendar, check a slot. I will take the applied skill here, and then fulfill it, and just go and try it. They're free. So even if you fail, you can always take it again, okay? Don't leave it to one day that you might need an applied skill. And imagine Microsoft start charging them. Now you have to pay, I don't know how much, if that's the decision that they take, how much they will charge, but whatever, it will cost you something. Today is free. So I tell everyone, just take as many it makes sense for you. So personally, the only ones that I don't have are the ones that are offline, or things that I don't touch, like Power Platform and things like this. But even those, I plan to take them, because it's always nice to learn something new from another area. So go for it.
Awesome. Okay, let's go to another easy question. Is there any applied skill roadmap in public preview? There's none that I know of. Tiago, Jonah, do
Yeah.
you know of any?
I know
The
that there's a roadmap, or a certifications roadmap guide for Microsoft credentials or certifications, but not applied skills yet. So probably something that's coming up. But the
Microsoft,
PowerPoint that you showed kind of showed a bit of that. I think, Vlad. There was like
no.
a
Well, no, the
or
PowerPoint simply said
oh
more scenarios under evaluation. So
oh right.
everything that was on the PowerPoint, I respected my NDA. Everything on the PowerPoint was public information. But no, so it said more scenarios under review.
Okay. Yeah, I don't
Now,
think we have
yeah,
yet.
unfortunately not. Okay, let's go for another one, which I wouldn't say, well, it's an easy one to answer. Let's go Tiago. I see Tiago's reading stuff, reading the questions. Is there an advantage to taking an applied skill course as instructor-led training over self-paced format? And I just want to say, you just asked us the three MCTs that they basically teach applied skill courses as ILT. So the
Yeah,
answer you might get might be a tiny bit biased, you know?
exactly.
So let me start with saying the Microsoft Learn content is amazing. And if you already have a lot of the knowledge, is a good way to validate what you already know and check everything. But Tiago, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, no, sure. Validating what Vlad said, and I was just going to start with that. Look, I'm totally biased on this, because part of my life I earn money by delivering classes, ILT classes, virtually or in person. Okay, so totally biased on this, but I truly believe, and I do also video learning content. I do content for Microsoft Learn, so some of the stuff that you can find on Microsoft Learn was authored by me. So I do all that, and I truly believe that the experience that you get, if you can take it, okay, which is from an expert in the field, usually those are just a 1 day thing. The applied skills ones. I've delivered quite a few, I have to confess, and the feedback that I get from my students when we are there is that, like, this was amazing, because I had tons of questions and I could just go directly to you, and now I know the answer for them. I don't need to search. I don't need to take a lot of time searching and not making sure that, hey, is this actually the right answer, and still in doubt. Okay, no, I have you deliver the content in a way that was structured, and it was not learned by me, and I could not be learning probably in the best format, or in the best way, in terms of first this, then that, then that. And that's the feedback that I have. But again, again, I'm biased, and if you can't afford ILT training, because comes with a cost, if your employer doesn't pay you for that, you always have Microsoft Learn, which is free, and you have literally like tons of amazing resources there too. Okay, so it's not like you can't pass if you don't sit in a class. Forget about that. That doesn't happen. I'm sure you can, but probably instead of like dedicating 1 day just for this, you're going to dedicate a few hours here, a few hours there, a few hours there, and then in the end, it will be more than just one day. If you have just a one structured day that you could be focused on this because you have the excuse, hey, I'm in the class, so no email, no Teams messages, no nothing. I can focus on this. That I think that's a big value that you're going to get out of this, and you sit on your applied skill and you take it and you pass at the first try for sure. Okay.
Yes. I want to add. I'm agreeing to Vlad and Tiago. I'm even though I have a full-time job, 100% as a consultant, I do training on the side as well. But to answer this question, I think taking the self-paced Microsoft Learn path for a specific Microsoft certification is a good complement to instructor-led training, because sometimes each learner has a different way of learning and a different phase of learning. And having the self-paced is good alternative. It's free. And then having the instructor led is, for me, in my perspective, if your employer pays for it, it's good. But in my perspective, it's very good in a way that there are certain complex or certain questions that you can get answers from a Microsoft certified trainer that you can ask directly during an instructor led session, in person or virtual. So that's my perspective to add on top of Vlad and Tiago.
Awesome. Okay, let's see what. By the way, I saw that a few of you here have told us that some applied skill labs are slow, that some of them get stuck. Unfortunately, us three here cannot help you on that one. There is an applied skill, not sure if it's applied skill or credential support forum that you can go post those things at so Microsoft can look into them. I will try to find a link. If not, I'm not sure if Tiago or Jonah, maybe some of you have it as a quick shortcut in your browsers. But unfortunately, we cannot help. We cannot help
Yeah.
with those. We see the comments. We're not ignoring you. It's just that there is nothing we can really tell you about them or help you with them. That's really a Microsoft specific question. Now I want to change things up a bit. Tiago and Jonah, let's see if you can answer this one. I'm happy it's not a Microsoft 365 question. We're going to change things completely up and go technical. So who wants to take it? Can you explain how Azure ensures high availability and disaster recovery for stateful services in Azure Kubernetes service, particularly during cross-region failovers? Somebody might be doing a certification live right now, and that's one of the questions.
I think this is a certification question.
Yes.
I think
Tiago can answer this.
look,
Please take it.
yeah, I can definitely answer this, but I think I will take forever. But I will just try to keep it simple. So the way that Microsoft designed, Azure from the ground up, we have what we call like regions, and regions come with availability zones. Each availability zone is independent when it comes to power, cooling, and networking. So what happens is services like AKS, okay, like app services, like virtual machine skill sets, like a lot of other Azure services, they leverage on availability zones, they leverage on all this infrastructure. And because they are managed services, there's a lot of stuff that you don't see. And I think the question is because, people don't see this in the background because it's a managed service and you just click in a checkbox, make it highly available sometimes, and boom, it's just there. But if you check the documentation of AKS, of whatever services you're seeing, they are going to explain this like in an incredible detail. One of the things that I also tell people to do is if you go to conferences like Microsoft Ignite, Build, and other smaller conferences, but Build and Ignite are the best ones for this, I have to confess. There's always product people there, okay, from the product group, and their sessions sometimes when you just sit there and they share loads of bits and bytes on how things are created in the background that you don't even have in the documentation. Okay, I personally have learned like tons by watching those conference sessions. And if you go back in Microsoft Ignite website, most sessions are there, the recordings, and you can just watch them. So it's not something that it's only available for the people that can afford, to actually go to Microsoft Ignite, fly, hotels, food, the ticket for the conference. All this is a lot of money. No, it's available for free. You can just go and watch those recordings. Not all the sessions are there, I have to confess. There's a lot of gain going in person to those events, because then you can go on the corridor and try to hijack someone from the product group and make direct questions to them. That always works. Okay. But basically, just to keep it short, okay, this is just the way that they are designed, and you'll always depend, okay, on each product for this.
I want to add also a bit on what you shared, Tiago. Based on what I know, uh, I have also seen how Azure really ensure high availability and failovers in all of their services, not just AKS. And one of the major backbone or powerful thing that Azure does to protect the cloud users are also the data centers, because the data centers, they are meant to provide this need that we have as a user. So checking out the global infrastructure of Azure and reading about the data centers, how it was built, how they protect it in different layers, would be something that can answer also the question that we just had.
Awesome. Lex, thank you so much. So I don't know why, maybe Tiago or Jonah, it seems that my ability to see the live question is not working anymore for the latest one. So I've been picking some of them, and I'll just add them like this here. We'll just show them. Sorry if your name doesn't show up, but I still do see your questions. Don't worry about that. What do you suggest I should try for the first applied skill? I'll try to say it, whatever you're good at, whatever your current job that you currently do. Take a look at them, look at what's the one that talks to you the most, and that should be the first one. I mean, I saw some people commented, hey, Azure storage one is easy. Yeah, it might be easy for Jonah and Tiago, but not for me as a M365 professional. Managing Azure storage I have an idea about it, but that's not what I do on a day-to-day job. So there's no best one. Just look at all of them. You have, again, the link. We'll reshare it for sure. You have it here on the screen. I know it's not clickable, but we'll reshare it in the comments as well shortly. And just go for the one that talks to you the most. Let's see what else we have there. I have a really good one here from Bridget, and I see that it's a long one. I guess the StreamYard doesn't even support, but so I love the idea of the applied skill credentials. I looked into them and love the direction. However, I think a good way to improve is to add a little more to them in the sense of making them project plans. And Bridget gave an example about scanning SharePoint sites that have everyone except external users added there, which is an awesome project. And by the way, if you ever want to get Copilot ready for M365, that's definitely something you have to do. You don't want to have those open keys, like say, lying around everywhere. As much as, and I'll just take off the message because I'm hiding half of Tiago's face here on the screen. But I think that, and let me hide this as well, there's always a balance to be found between what we think are really good ideas, which I agree, yours would be an amazing idea, but can Microsoft do it at scale, or would it be part of a bigger applied skill, getting your environment ready for Copilot for M365, in which you would have to do, this would be part of it. So I already think that Microsoft did a huge step into making credentials easier to have by going from full-blown proctored certifications to applied skills you can take for free at home. I do not see them going even smaller for smaller tasks or only one task anytime in the near future. Again, that might change, and I have no knowledge of what Microsoft is working on, but I believe that applied skill is the smallest type of project we are going to get for at least for the next couple of years, and they're going to go all in on that. Um, Having little projects like that, amazing way to study. Don't get me wrong, it's amazing. Maybe I wish that Microsoft had a kind of a library, like a GitHub of projects of things like that, of things you should try, like an open source GitHub, like the PNP does. Here are things you can try to learn and everything. But I don't think those would be official Microsoft credentials, validated knowledge, because for Microsoft to do those at scale requires a huge amount of investment on their part. As much as, again, as a tech person, sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's easy. It's a huge cost to Microsoft to build them, to validate them, to do the psychometrics and all of that around them. So unfortunately, I don't think it'll be happening anytime soon. I don't know if Jonah, Tiago, you want to add anything.
I just wanted to add that I agree with most of it, because look, when you're developing like a credential product, it's not just, hey, this is a nice idea, let's evaluate people on this. It needs to be something that, hey, I'm going to evaluate people? Okay, what's the passing score for this? There's a lot of stuff that you don't see behind the scenes. I have altered exam questions in the past, and people don't even imagine, the amount of work that there is sometimes for just a single question. There's some questions that they come easy, to be honest. Everyone looks at them and say, hey, wow, amazing question. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, let's just add it. Done. But there are other questions that take us, a lot of discussion around them. And, even sometimes we say, well, if there's so many questions and so many doubts about this question, let's just throw it in a bin. Okay. So we had like a rule in my group that if we are discussing this for more than X, it's because it's not a good question, let's throw them in a bin. Look, there's a lot going on. Okay. But like a lot. And so that's all that. And then the scale, what Vlad was saying. Look, Microsoft has a huge scale, so everything needs to be scalable in terms of being delivered, and it needs to be evaluated by an automated system. Microsoft doesn't have anyone, checking what you have done and say, oh, you're going to have 75% on this. They don't. It needs to be fully automated because of, again, of the scale that we have for this. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, sorry,
Agree.
Jonah.
Yes. Yeah, it's okay. I agree with Vlad and Tiago, and I just want to like add that applied skills, in my perspective, is a very powerful, on-demand, free option for us to really learn by doing, based on our like need for learning and demand for a project-based scenario. And as a learner, for example, who don't have an Azure account, because sometimes it costs pay as you go, and as you're a student, sometimes it can be free or you get it free from your company. But the applied skills allows us learners to really do a hands-on and test our skills by learning, and then you get the sandbox or the labs inside of it. So make most of it while it's still free for everybody, or for us, and there will be more.
And by the way, Carrie here from Microsoft was nice enough to be in the chat. So if you encounter any issues with applied skill, the link we're talking about, Carrie shared it. Unfortunately, again, I don't know why my live comments feed doesn't really work right now, so I cannot show his name, but you will have the link. I shared it everywhere. If you ever have any problem during applied skills, things are slow, things like that, make sure you share it there. Awesome. Okay, see, we have about 30 seconds left here, unfortunately, in this applied skill. Ask me anything. I'm not seeing any of them. Some people are asking us, what will the next one be? What will our next Ask Me Anything be? And the answer was, well, let us know. What do you have
That is true.
questions on? What would
Yeah.
you like us to do a presentation on? Please give us ideas. We're here for the community. So anything that has to do with Microsoft Learn that you would like to get questions from, are there any people from Microsoft you would like us to get on the show? Maybe people working on the certifications, on the applied skills. We cannot guarantee anything, but we can try to make it happen this way. If you have any questions about who decides how applied skills are made or how they are prioritized and things like that, we can try to get them on a call like this. So please let us know in the comments. But I do want to be respectful on everybody's time. So what I will say is, any closing thoughts? Jonah, do you want to start with any closing thoughts as we close this off?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone that joined us live and asked questions, amazing questions for us to answer. Just want to thank you for your time. And we actually, all three of us, Vlad, Tiago, and I, has a Microsoft Learning Room called Cloud Certification Screw that I believe Carrie has shared also the links on the earlier chat comments. So feel free to also join our cloud certifications queue, like a crew learning room, where we can also answer your questions internally in that room as well.
I am trying to copy paste it just so I can send it to everybody as a message. At the same time, let me go here into comments and add it for everybody. Tiago, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, it was great. To be honest, I think there's a lot of interested about applied skills and love the questions, love to be here. That's one of our passions, It's just to be here and help people get certified and growing in their careers. That's why we do this. So again, thank you so much for the kind questions and the amazing participation that we have today. My inbox on LinkedIn is always open, so and I think Vlad's and Jonah's too. So find us, send us messages. If you have further questions, let's keep interacting. This is not just today and then we go our separate ways. No, let's join us, send us messages. And if you have ideas, I think Vlad was saying this, someone was asking about, hey, what's the next live session that you guys are going to do? We don't have anything planned yet, but if you have an idea, just let us know and we will definitely consider them, because sometimes those out of the box ideas that we are so into it that we don't realize, yeah, this will be a great topic. Sometimes they come from you, because you are in the field, this, and we're not so into it like we are, and we have the knowledge, we want to share it. So if you have an idea, bring it and we will make sure that we will do a live session on that. Okay, that's it.
In addition to what to what Tiago and Jonah said, you see an applied skill you want, go take it. You can do it from wherever you want. Just put it on your calendar, like Tiago said. Give yourself a week or two to study, or how much time you think you need. And if you fail, well, you can just retake it 1 or 2 days later. So don't be shy. Why not do it? They are free. Go take those applied skills right away. And on this, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We really hope that you enjoyed this session. And please give us ideas for the next one. We are here for you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.